5, 4, 3,
And
2,
we're
1.
live.
We have a new microphone. You should be able to hear us better.
Yes.
But let us know.
Yes.
Let us know how you guys feel. So welcome to your journey.
Yes. Hi, my name is Sabrina.
Katarina.
Today we brought out our cards. Stand still. We have the voyage and we have darkness.
So do you know what we're going to talk about today? Do you?
The art of nothing.
The mother of nothing.
Which is something I want to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about our experiences of the weekend or this lifetime because it's all culminating to this nothingness. If I may.
Yeah.
My whole, ever since I've been connected to my higher self on this journey, I have the messages that come to me all the time are do nothing, right? And I have to tell you, at the beginning of time, it was super challenging for me to say, what do you mean do nothing?
What do you mean beginning of time? When did it start?
The beginning of time, like years ago,
before, pre, during pandemic, or after?
No, like during pandemic,
okay.
Let's say, right? And it was like the perfect time to do nothing was during that time, right? It was like you couldn't do anything anyways. Yeah. But as a Sabrina, the character, it was like, no, I want to do this, and I have to learn about tarot. I have to learn about my spiritual. I have to learn about this. I gotta I was putting myself everywhere, and the constant message, which is like, do freaking nothing, Sabrina, because ultimately I understood after all this that we don't need to be filling our bodies with information, because information just slows down this computer, this Sabrina, this Katarina, and it just makes us it's like a slower evolution. And it's like, no, if you do nothing, you don't put any information in, don't read a book, don't watch this, don't do this, it's easier to integrate the light that's coming in. And that's my whole thing. And then this is where we're at. And it's super challenging. I know we talk about it all the time, how challenging it is to do nothing. So she's going to talk about her experience this weekend, and we're going to continue talking. Let's go.
Well, I mean, just to go back on everything that you've been saying, just this art of nothing, the only reason why it's so difficult, and it's so paradoxical, because doing nothing should be so easy. It should be like the easiest thing in the world, but because we've been in this whole culture and society of hustle this, hustle that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's like a non-stop that once you do stop, you feel useless. You feel like guilty. You're not constructive. You feel guilty. You feel shame, because that's what it is. Oh, if you're not doing something, that means you're not doing anything, meaning that you're not productive. You're not productive because sometimes doing nothing is the most productive thing you can do, really, because you're actually listening to your body, which I was talking about not too long ago, how everything in our culture is designed to distract us from ourselves. Absolutely everything. TV, school, work, everything is designed. If you go on the news, everything's designed to distract you. Look at the drama, look at this. Everything is designed to distract you from who you truly, from your essence, from sitting down, being still in silence, so you can hear what your body is trying to tell you. Who knows, maybe even your soul is trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about light, right? What is light? It's information.
It is.
But if there's no room for that information to come, if you're meant to do something incredible in the world, but you're distracted, you're continuously distracting yourself from hearing what that call is, you can't get that new information to come in to guide you, because you're being guided from what everything and everybody in culture and society wants you to be guided towards, which is probably not your path. And you probably feel it. And that's the thing, you feel it inside you. There's something not there, but I'm going to follow the crowd just because this is my old or subconscious programming at the moment.
Yeah, it's it was like the art of distraction, which is kind of interesting, because to me, recently I've been guided to actually watch movies, which I had stopped watching movies altogether. I stopped watching TV altogether back in 2019. I was like, no, I don't need this, because it's like, for me, I felt it as a negative thing. You know, I'm watching something that's trying to program me, you know, so I was in that conspiracy theory mode. But now I see it differently, because I don't attach myself to the movie. I don't attach myself to the concept. Actually, I could see right through it. I laugh most of the time. Even if it's a crime show or like a sad thing, I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh my God, they're trying, like, you know, you could see the messaging, but my resonance doesn't attach to the concepts that are being like, they're coming through the brain wave, the television waves kind of thing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Say that again.
It's like, I feel like when I watch movies now, I'm not attached to the
outcome or the personalities,
the
narrative,
stories, the narratives.
You used to be attached.
Yes.
What do you mean you used? How did you?
I really got involved with the characters. I really got involved with it, and I would get, oh my God, yes, this. And then I used to get involved with that. And now when I watch it's completely, because that's for me. Sabrina got attached to a lot, and now I don't. I just like, and I kind of understand why I'm being pushed there, because when I'm watching something, I'm not thinking anything. Because it's not even that, it's like I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just watching, and it's just like images going through, and then I leave it. And it's just like, it's almost like my form of meditation. Right? Because I'm not really attaching to anything. I mean, I don't know. That's just for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. An ex used to say it's like brain dead.
Yeah, like it's almost like
activity where you're just sitting there and your brain doesn't have to think about anything, because a lot of the times throughout the whole day you're thinking about, I have to call this person, I have to go here, I have to go there, I have to do this. Like, this is just like, and I see it also with my niece and nephews, where it's just like, where do you want to shut down or just, you know, shut off, for running around, playing with the friends, doing this, coloring. The TV is like, okay, I don't have to think anymore. I could just.
But also the
watch.
TV has a trigger for people, because TV has like programming.
I mean, it is, yeah, 100%.
It's 100% programming.
It's it's still a distraction at the end of the day.
Yeah,
like
it
you
still
can use
does, like brain dead. Like, that's interesting. But at the end of the day, like, that's the inversion again. I feel like that's a little bit the inversion again. Like, you're gonna hear people say, "Oh, you're watching the TV, you're gonna be brain dead, you're gonna be a zombie, whatever." But then it's like, is that the inversion? Like, you know, so, like I was telling her like earlier today, I was like, everybody came in with a set of codes. Everyone is like, we are one. They came in as one pod, but with different sets of codes, and everyone has different journeys, right? That's why we have a little bit of individualized journeys, because my codes could be different from her codes. So that's why information, taking in information is tricky, because maybe that information that's coming to me doesn't resonate, and it does resonate for her, but it doesn't mean that she's right or I'm wrong, right? And the art of nothing is just like releasing this information.
Well, there's a big emptying out the vessel. I feel like it's happening for a lot of us, because I've talked with a lot of people, and they're saying, I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to, like, I don't feel like I want to go out. I don't feel like I want to talk. I don't feel like, I just feel like I want to sit down and just do nothing, which to me, you know, like, again, it gets counterintuitive, because like, oh no, you know, I have to do something. But I've come to realize that we can't create something new from the old. We can't create new ideas, new ways of thinking, new approaches, even like new, like she said, programming. If we're still focused on the old stuff, on doing what we used to always do. So as I was telling her today, I almost feel like this emptying out the vessel, this going into the nothingness, is exactly like the void, where the whole creation came about, right? They say that there was a thought, but it had to be catered to in the void. It had to be like, there has to be nothing for it to emerge from, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But yeah, to create something new, you have to stop doing the old.
And you also have to stop, you have to stop also, like, this is something that could trigger, I know that we always talk, we're always triggering people anyway, so whatever. It should be a footnote at the bottom of the screen.
We're not triggering, we're just releasing old programs. That's the way I see.
Like, to me, I see old programs as, like, she talks a lot about this, and I don't like I can't attach to this anymore. Like shamanism and old medicine, and this is the way we used to do it back in the day and back in the day. And I'm like, look, I just listen, and I'm open-hearted about it, but I'm like, what? Why are we attaching to what we used to do in 1600, 1800, 1920, 1980, 1990, 2010? Because it's already done, right? The art of nothing is like completely wiping away all of it, and it's beautiful. I'm not saying it's not a beautiful traditions, blah blah blah, but again, I think first of all, I always say, is it really for real? And then second, it's like, why don't you want to create new? Because we can't, like she said before, we cannot create a new if we're bogged down, right? Like I've always said, I've said this in many videos, that it's like we're a robot, we're a computer system, right? And we have a whole bunch of data that it's been coming in since education times and filling our vessel with a useless information. And that now a lot of us are feeling the light has always been coming in, right? Has always been upgrading. The DNA has always been upgrading. But now I feel like it's exponential, right? It's accelerated. And it's like, what the F? What is all this density inside you? Like it needs to clear. And that's why many of us feel sick. And many of us have colds, like extreme colds. And a lot of that all came up because of this influx of light and upgrading to our system. And it's normal that your body is moving around. But if you're doing nothing, you can allow this light to come in. You could sleep for 20 hours. I mean, that's what I keep getting, that message. It's like, just sleep, But like she said before, or I said it before even too, like guilt. Like I come from Italian, she comes from Croatian. We come from European, Mediterranean families where, I mean, this is all world. It could be Chinese. There's a whole bunch of guilt all over the world. Israel, everywhere. There is that sense of like, if you're not being productive, then you're doing nothing in the world, right? You have to be doing something. Like I worked really hard to get to where I am right now. We hear the same things over and over, and it's like a grandparents, parents, this and this. They worked hard on the fields, and here you are doing nothing, just sitting on your couch doing nothing. What the fuck is that? Like that's like could be a big factor for a lot of people. That's a huge program that's in our vessels that has to be cleared. Because now I do nothing. It's just like I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel anything because I know it's for a greater good.
Yeah, and then on the same time, I do believe that there is elements that the past that we might just be inspired by. It's just this holding on to these ideas and concepts, really holding on, like we need to bring this back. And I don't believe we're going backwards. I do believe we're creating something completely new. And like I said, it might be inspired by certain things, and certain people will be inspired by taking certain paths and trying out certain things, which I do believe might help with their own evolution and activate certain codes within them. But I was talking with a friend, and she was very adamant in this one philosophy and this one way of practicing a specific medicine. And I'm like, you're here to probably bring out something completely new and completely different, but you can't do that if you're
Fixated.
stuck. Exactly. When you're fixated or stuck on how it used to be. Like, this is the emptying out of the vessel. We need to empty out how we think something used to be, because what do we really know? Like she was saying, it's like, did it really happen? Whether it did or it didn't, it doesn't even matter anymore, because we're creating something new. We're going in a different direction. You were talking about how the nothing is very important for our evolution. It's part of our evolution, because by emptying out our vessel, these old concept ideas, we're now bringing forth the light, new information that is probably ingrained in our genetic codes, because everybody has a different genetic code, and it's designed to come up when it's supposed to, but it can't come up if your vessel's already filled up with all this old way of seeing, old history, old news. And again, I mean, it was very important probably once upon a time to have all these people work very, very hard. It was probably in their DNA. They probably needed to do this in that time frame, because I do believe back then it was very dense. The energies were very, very dense for me anyways. And you needed certain people doing certain things. But now we're in this place of feeling guilty if we're actually taking a pause.
But I think that's why it's called
normal.
the Great Awakening, right? It's because maybe then they were still not I'm not saying the sleeping. I don't want to talk about that sleep thing, but like no one was asleep really, because we're like the light workers were the ones asleep most of the time. Like it's like that. I'm sure during that time there were people like that were awakening, right, and enlightened.
Who? We, as in light workers,
as in light workers or whatever, like humans.
Okay.
Right. And there was just certain, like, we had to come from these families. I mean, I think I believe that I had to come from a family that was hardworking, and we worked like animals, and we got the money because of like this, like that kind of thing. So that could have, cling. No, we don't need to work hard. Right. Like, I think I believe that all of us chose our paths. There's all contracts for a reason. So that we could waken up, like, for whatever the lesson I'm getting at that moment. To me, I had to come from a family that was, it's all about work, it's all about education, it's all about this and this. And my whole life, I struggled with that. I struggled with education. I used to be in school and I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, nothing retained in my mind.
Yeah, but education in itself is not really catered to each individual,
yeah,
which it should be, because every single person is completely different. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a new perspective, but we've been boxing everybody, right? We've been putting everybody in a little box, saying, no, this is how a human is supposed to know. Yet you have people that are way above and beyond. And then again, all the restrictions are very important too for these people who want to break out of the box. Because how do you break out of the box if you're not in the box? Right.
Yeah, no, so, it's like
the paradox will always be there.
Yeah.
You had written something about like how nothing, in the nothing you have everything and there's nothing, right? So that major, you are everything and you are nothing. Like, I would love to know your take on that. Like, what do you feel about that saying?
Because I had I have to tell you that I was challenged by that. Like, it's been like about, I don't know how many years. I don't count years anymore. I don't even know. Quantum time, that I'm sure that I've been told that you're nothing, Sabrina. Can you be okay with being nothing? And I was like, excuse me? I'm Sabrina. I'm a jewelry owner. I'm a this. I'm a label. I'm a tarot. Da, da, da. It's like, no, you're nothing. You're nothing. Why are you putting a label on you? You're nothing. You're just a character. You have to. It's very challenging to you if you follow certain like religions like Buddhism or Taoism or Zen. They focus a lot on that. The fact that all the material and the possession is nothing, and you're nothing. You're just a beautiful soul. Can you be okay with that? And I would be like, and it's that human being challenge. But at the same time, she brings up a lot to me, and I love it. Is like, can you just enjoy your human beingness, Sabrina? Right? Which is attached to material possession, which is so it's that paradox, like you said. But there is something to say about being the human being, and also about like not playing too much. Like, I can't play in the narrative too much anymore because it doesn't resonate with me. And also because for me to create a new, and I know that I'm being pushed somewhere to create something new. I have no idea what it is, by the way. And I don't think any of us do.
No.
We can't know until we clear a lot of this programming. And that's the work that we're doing. And everyone is going through it at a different time, a different level. And it's like learning that it's all okay that we're all in different levels too.
Yeah.
But be a hard one. Like, being okay with doing nothing. Like, can you be okay with doing nothing?
Can you?
Can you
be okay? That's like one takeaway I want you to like really focus on. Can you be okay with doing nothing? And then can you hold space for whatever comes up when you say that? Okay, today I'm going to do nothing. Oh, what comes up? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it resentment? Is it past memories? And can you just hold space and be in that chaos? Because for me, it was very hard to be in that chaos in the beginning, being in that guilt, being in that shame. Like, I had to distract myself. It was only 2 years ago where I would sit in stillness and I would feel my body wanting to to distract, wanting to get that cup of coffee, wanting to take a shower,
your mind,
read that book, watch that video. Exactly. When in reality, I just needed to sit in that chaos. And that's when I had some of the most profound releases of like, wow, I feel guilt and I feel shame, and that's okay. That it doesn't identify who I am. These are just emotions that are stuck in my body somewhere. And I've had 2 years in 2022. I remember every single day I would sit with myself 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes even an hour. And all I would do is cry because it was stuck in my body. It was information that I didn't need anymore. And I only realized that I was distracting myself and how my body was distracting itself, because when I would sit in meditation, it wasn't even meditation. It was just stillness and silence, that I would feel and notice my brain racing and right away grabbing onto that first thing that will help me distract myself from sitting still. And
it's interesting to be at that place, which I do now, is either I allow my brain to just run. I allow it to till it's like it's tired. And then I'm like, okay, shut the F up and like, let me go. And then it just like gets bored, right? The mind gets bored. Or it's just like sitting and like, I had a point and I totally forgot. You said something and I kept it in my head and I totally forgot.
Sitting and seeing how your brain could distract you and then try to bring you into the distraction. What did you don't remember?
I'm doing because I'm thinking nothing.
Right? It'll come back to you. It'll come back
to me.
It usually does.
Yeah. The art of nothing is just is a challenge. I had a question to ask people, like how
in terms of takeaways, you mean?
In terms of a takeaway. I can't think of it.
Well, the first takeaway would be, can you just do nothing? And can you sit with the emotions when you hear that? Today I'm going to do nothing. What comes up, right? And how can you create space and be present for that chaos that comes in? And I would like to know also, what is your idea of nothing? What is your idea? Like, what for you, what does it mean to do nothing? Is it sitting down on a couch? Is it watching a movie? Is it going to the spa and doing nothing? Like, what's your definition of nothingness? Basically, that's what I would like to know.
Do you feel like nothing, like in your mind when you think nothing? Do you feel like it's because I keep getting this message or what have you. It's like I don't know. I had, when she was talking, banking system came to my head, right? So I have to run with whatever comes into my head because that's what it's coming. So banking system, and like a lot of people who are struggling with money, let's say, right? They're like, well, how can I do nothing and attract money into my life, right? How can I do nothing and pay off all my credit cards, Sabrina? It doesn't make sense. And I often will get that, and I'll often ask myself that question, right? And it's like, because you are continuously bringing up that fact that you cannot pay that credit card and you cannot do this, the banking system remains alive, by the way, people. And also your credit card stays very alive, right? And everything stays alive. And it's to me, the nothing means releasing that from your vessel, releasing that from your mind, saying that, okay, God will provide, universe will provide, I am taken care of, I am the light, I am the OG of this earth, right? Why would I have to pay this? Why would I have to do this? It's like, really, that's in the nothing. Is like, you're not thinking, obviously I'm thinking here, but you're like, you're coming down to the root of who you are.
So it's almost like I'm hearing that you're releasing the fear around it by sitting with whatever comes up in the nothing.
Whatever comes up, because when you sit in the nothing, like at the beginning, things are coming up. You're not just sitting in nothing.
And you bring up a good point too, because it forces you to practice trust. And I do believe there's two things that we came here to do. One is learn unconditional love, which we can only learn if we have these challenging events that come into our life, like somebody stabbing you in the back. Well, I mean, how could you still hold unconditional love? Deepest form of unconditional love is when you have these challenges and you have these people that betray you and lie to you and cheat and this. And then the second thing is trust.
Yeah.
How can you trust deeper? And sitting in nothing, like you were saying, it's like you have no choice but to trust. And this trust generates a vibration in itself, right? that means you're the OG. I loved it when you said you're the OG human, meaning that there's nobody like you but you.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody like you but you. So why do we try to be somebody else? Why do we try to fill up our vessel with more information and how this person's doing and how that person's, yes, okay, getting inspired is great. That's part of creativity, but don't hold on to, I want to do it like this person because it worked for him, because what worked for that person might not work for you. And then again, you never know until you don't try, right? On the same time, there is that aspect, but I do believe everything you try will always come down to stop doing that thing.
Yeah, because you'll fail.
Exactly.
Which is the best thing.
Which is maybe what you need.
You need to fail. Like,
yeah,
I failed a lot in my life. Everyone's failed in relationships and business and whatever. And at the moment, you're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. But then now I look back and I'm like, OMG, that was amazing, right? I look at my failures like, oh my God, why did I waste so long in that business? I should have
I'm not there yet, but yeah, I get what she's saying.
You're not a failure? Okay.
No, I mean, I haven't got to the point of appreciating all my failures. That's what I mean. Okay. No, I'm not there yet, but I'm close. Okay. Just a couple of more gunks.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's a thing. That's because she's doing nothing. And that junk is coming up for her.
Yeah.
Like her sadness comes up for her. Like she has a lot of sadness in her life. For me, it's unworthiness. So there's a lot of different energies that come up. But the only way her sadness can come up is because she sits in her nothing.
Yeah. And it has space.
And if we're not sitting on a, it's not like doing something to do nothing. Like people are like, yeah, I'm going to go do nothing. I'm going to go to a spa and then I'm going to go mountain bike. I'm like, no, you're doing something. Like, don't do anything. Can you do that? Can you lie in the grass and do fuck off? Excuse my language. Or sit on your couch or do like, take away all the inversions of people saying you're like a loser, you're unproductive, because you're actually doing so much for this planet.
By doing nothing.
Because
you're actually creating that space in your body for things to come up. And basically, you technically are doing something because you're just sitting with it. Yeah. You're sitting with whatever comes up. Technically speaking. So if you need the analytical mind to trick, you technically are doing something. You're sitting with it. You're just not engaging with it, which could be one of the biggest blessings that you can ever do, because you stop feeding into it and then you're allowing them to be released. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. You're great. Because it is that. And I don't know. I feel like this comes at an opportune time right now, because we're a little bit more evolved on the journeys. A lot of us are. I read you guys, your comments, and they're freaking phenomenal. And it's like you're fully there, and then sometimes you're not, right? And
sometimes you just need reminders.
And then you get you take it badly. Like, don't get hard on yourself for it. Like we all fall back 10, 100 steps sometimes. We sometimes fall into really bad black holes, but it's because that's the journey, right? Like she said, and like we've been saying, it's like, this is like, you can't do this by emulating someone else, and you can't do this by comparing yourself to someone else. I don't compare myself to her, which doesn't compare herself to me. We're just on this journey together, and we're helping each other out. We're support systems. But we're not on the same journey, right?
Unless we trigger each other. Then there's some kind of comparison, right? Usually.
Yeah, but also like comparing to another, like someone that you think is like, there's no one higher than you. There's no one lower. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
100%.
The journey is the journey.
You are you. You're only you. You. There's no other person like you.
And we need you. So, we need your coding. So that it mixes in with other coding.
We don't need you pretending to be or acting like anybody else. Let's remove the masks, right? And that's a whole other thing we can talk into. But I just want to just elaborate on what you were saying about going back into the black hole or like being hard on yourself. On the contrary, sometimes we have to fall back to deepen certain knowledges, to deepen certain characteristics that are important for our coding, right? So falling back, it deepens our sense of, you know what, I fell back, but I could still love myself even in this black hole. I could still love myself even if I tripped and fell. It's like at a certain point you start laughing at yourself. And this, I believe this in the core of my heart, is just like, if you can start laughing at yourself, you've won. You won. Nobody can control you anymore, because that person pointing and laughing at you, you're laughing at yourself too. So it's like that person can't even hurt you anymore. These people, the media, the drama that we keep seeing has no more control over you, because you have fully integrated and loved every single aspect of yourself and fully trusted that there's no distractions that could distract you. You can have fun with the experience. You can engage, but engage as an observer. To almost like, I almost feel like
this is interesting that you're saying this. I want to bring up what you were triggered by today.
Okay.
That story in Quebec.
Yeah.
Right? She was triggered today by a story that's happening right now in our province.
I was triggered yesterday, yeah.
Oh, yesterday?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, you should say this is like a little village here in Quebec that they're going to be installing QR codes, like
the 5-minute cities that everybody keeps talking about, which I think is bullshit. I mean, I think it's just,
and we all get triggered by these little like headlines that show up on the media, right? But it's in that moment to laugh at it because it's just an illusion, right? And to go back into your nothing and say, what, like distractions to get riled up, to get your energy riled up. But maybe at the end, same way, it could be an energy that's supposed to come up inside you.
Yeah, 100% to release again. Because when I saw that, all of these thoughts of like, oh, I could go do this, I could go do this, I could, and then I'm just back at that old form of myself of being angry at the world, being resentful, and on the same time, even these counterparts, even everybody that is in power right now, they have a role to play. They have a role to play in the unfolding of this world. And I mean, that goes back into believing if something's good or bad, and that's a whole other episode in itself. But
yeah, oh my God, that's another episode. We're gonna talk about that,
but
because that's like also.
But the fact that it brought up all that thing is because there was still pain and probably resentment and betrayal in my body that needed to be cleared up. And not to say that, one day I might not have to act. I do believe that one day there's action that will need to be taken, but I have to be in my full awareness and integrated self. Like the actions need to come from my soul and not from the masks that I've put on of society or of my parents or culture or whatnot, like
of your character,
of the illusions or just the programmings that we've picked up. It's going to come from me, from a deep place of knowingness. This is who I am, and this is what I've come here to do, and act on that energy force, practically, that I want to say.
Yeah, but also, who are you? But anyways, like,
yeah, for sure.
It's like who I am, and it's not really, you're nothing.
No, but we're just saying how we have our codes, right?
I know,
There's codes that come in, and then we're here to activate these codes and then act upon them instead of the codes that we're instilling
from
an old programming.
I totally understand.
From the character,
But not to put so much attention on the fact that we have codes and that, and that we have a purpose. Everybody asks, what is my purpose? You have no purpose. Like, can you be okay with no purpose?
Imagine, can you be okay with no purpose?
Can you be okay with no purpose? That's a really challenging one for everybody. Of course, no, I need a purpose. No, you don't. You are the purpose.
Your purpose is to be.
You are the purpose. Like, we're here to have a human experience. Of course we are. But like we were talking about this earlier too. It's like I'm at a certain place where the human experience is like, that's the art of boredom, right? It's boring a little bit, right? And is it because I've done everything in the world? Not that I can remember, right? I might have done everything in the world in all my past lifetimes, whatever. But I don't know. There's an itch, right, for something new. And I know at my deepest level of knowing that the only way to get into that new is to me to clear. So in this moment, I gotta be bored as F. So it's okay. Now I laugh at my boredom. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've seen videos where they say being bored is where the new stuff emerges from. And I try to say that to my niece and nephew, and there's always like, they don't get it, because me too, I don't fully get it. I don't fully understand. I get the concept. I can intellectualize it, and I get the whole idea of the void, because the void is the womb of creation where everything emerges from, but that void is nothing. And it's probably very boring in that nothing.
It is so boring.
Like until something comes up, but it's to have enough patience, patience to just have it emerge.
Stand still. Just stand like this pelican stuck in the freaking swamp. Can you be like that pelican stuck there? Okay. It's really that. It's so interesting. Even this weekend, I was like, I did nothing except I had 2 clients. Otherwise, nothing. And I went through Netflix, Prime, Disney. I went Apple. I went through everything. I was bored. Like literally, I was like, oh my God, nothing. And then I went through my tarot cards. I pulled cards for me, and I was like, "Oh, this is exciting." I got the 3 of Swords to start. I was like, "Obviously, this is exactly how I'm feeling." Okay, and then I did art, but I was like, "Okay, like there's just." I start coloring. I have coloring books because I like the color. But I said I gotta do nothing. So I just sat and did nothing, and the time passed. And then I went to bed. But And at night is where all my action happens, It's like, ooh, messages here, left, right, and center. And then I woke up and I'm like, it's okay. The day was over, right? So it's okay. I just gonna have to I don't know. I don't know where I'm at. It's like an interesting place to be, but I'm,
and we don't have to explain.
I don't have to explain it either. I just know it in my heart that something is here. Like I almost said, like I had my higher self said, we told you April 2024, May. We told you that you were going to step into something. Just wait it out. I'm like, okay. Because my human mind is like, oh, April, May, it's here. What's going on? I don't know. I'm waiting. And
then being distracted by these dates or anything else actually prevents you from seeing certain opportunities. Because we're so focused on like the date, the 24. Oh, okay, April 2024, May 2024. That reality, we're supposed to be looking there. Right. But because we're looking there, we not necessarily miss it, but we miss certain opportunities. And this is why another reason why it's so important to sit with your sadness, sit with your anger and resentment, because when you're actually sad and resentful and angry, you're actually distracted from all the beautiful opportunities. And why miss these opportunities just because you don't want to face your anger, just because you don't want to face your sadness, and just because you don't and be with it.
And really important, and it's something we do it too a lot. It's like today we were talking. We talked a lot before this. Apparently, we do that anyways. And
we were hungry. I was hungry.
So
and for some reason, the last Mondays, our food never comes right away. It always takes an hour. I don't know. Have you noticed that? Yeah. The last couple of Mondays, right before breakfast, because
we tape this on Monday, by the way.
Okay. And just the food has been taking forever, so we have plenty of time to talk and empty our vessels.
She just interrupted me, and I totally lost. I lost my whole train of thought. By the way, so I was like,
it was something we talked about today in regards to basically what I was saying. I almost wish we could rewind this, but I was saying how not to be distracted. To not be distracted by your anger and sadness, but if you actually face your anger and sadness, then you can actually release that and focus on the opportunities, the real opportunities that could come up. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And actually, it doesn't trigger anything inside me, but yeah.
No, but I mean, does it help spark whatever you want to say? I'm
no,
sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
It'll come back.
I'll state it in my weekly tarot.
There you go. Perfect. Which comes out on Saturday nights, by the way.
Yeah.
Follow her. So I think that's good, no?
Yeah.
I think, is there any other takeaways? So the first takeaway would be,
how do you feel? What do you feel in the nothing?
If you were to say, I'm doing nothing today, what does that invoke? What does that bring up? And can you just sit with it? And if you do, how could you just hold space for it, and not engage in it? And then the second one was, what is your definition of nothing? I would like to know your definition of nothing.
Yeah, this is going to be fun because this is really where the soul evolution begins, right? It's from the nothing. It's from the 0 point, the neutrality, which we're going to be talking about on Saturday in the Fool card, which is 0 point. And a lot of people, I've heard 0 point, if you're in the community and you've heard about polarities and this human world is polarized, and we are at the 0 point, which is the art, the nothing, which being okay to begin this new journey completely clear. And to get there, it's hella work, but we're doing it. And I'm proud of you, and we're proud of you. And let's continue doing this work.
Or at least we think it's work. We think it's work right now. We define it as
feels
work
like
now.
it.
Yeah, it
at
feels
a
like it
human
right
level.
now. Yeah, because we're so not used to doing this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like almost going against the grain that we have created for ourselves. But yeah, for all those who are new or who don't know, we're going to do a mini series, a tarot mini series where we're going to go through all the major arcanas, and you'll have an opportunity to learn a little bit more on how to use them and how to apply them. And
different interpretations. From Fool to the World card. It's going to be interesting. So come join us every Saturday. You can catch us there for the Tarot mini series. Every Wednesday is here. We look forward to you next Wednesday again. Like, write those comments. We freaking love them.
100%.
This engagement is a beautiful. And your homework for this week is to do
nothing.
Nada.
Niente. And let us know if you'd like. We were thinking of doing these lives on Wednesday. So Wednesday live. So maybe start next week. Let us.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
What time's good for you?
Yeah. What time's good for you guys? So you can actually have a interactive experience like we've been talking about. Anyways, think about it.
All right.
Write us the comments. Like, share, all the jazz. You know what it is.
Do. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, here you go. Okay.